Like I said, I don't know this guy. I never seen this guy fight. And I watch a lot of MMA, you know what I mean? Maybe, you know what I mean? I'm slipping. Maybe he's a good fighter, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I honestly never seen this guy fight, for sure. I definitely think he's trying to clout chase. I think he'll definitely get in the ring with me for the right check. I don't know, what do you think of this way? You know, I will, ain't even nothing to talk about.
Legendary boxer Terence Crawford has just responded to Ilia Topuria's call-out. On the other hand, Ilia Topuria, still undefeated at 17-0, expressed interest in crossing into boxing. He was angered when Terence Crawford used the same mariachi song he walks out to, calling it personal and accusing Crawford of stealing his identity. Topuria then challenged him online, vowing to knock him out and even leave a round for Canelo.
Ilia Topuria just went off. After Terence Crawford used his signature walkout song, Topuria didn't just get mad, he threw down a challenge. First he calls me drunk, then he walks out to my song. Topuria posted, "Crawford, whenever you want, I'll teach you how to dance that mariachi in the ring," but he didn't stop there. Topuria then aimed his sights at Canelo Alvarez, threatening to save you a round after the champ is out for blood, and he's not holding back.
Crawford dismissed the call-out, saying he had never watched Topuria fight and only met him once, where Topuria was polite and respectful. For Crawford, the sudden aggression on social media felt fake, since anyone truly wanting a fight would issue the challenge in person.
If I don't like somebody, if I want to fight them for whatever reason, I would have been like, "Hey, what's up, man? What you think about me and you fighting?" I'm not gonna go hide behind the keyboard and then be like, "Oh, I knocked this dude out, this and that and this." I think that's fake. I definitely think he's trying to clout chase. He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor, let's be real.
Crawford also viewed Topuria's pursuit as a grab for attention. He admitted crossover fights can deliver big paydays, but argued this one lacks the appeal, using Mayweather versus McGregor as an example. He said that worked because McGregor was already a global star, whereas Topuria has little name value in boxing.
Now that this has become a thing and you see the interest, you have interest in fighting him.
For what?
Money.
Listen. What money will I get out of fighting him? Tell me how much I'm gonna get out of fighting him.
Well, I know Floyd made a lot, obviously, to fight Conor.
He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor. Let's be real. Stop it. Don't ever compare him to Conor. Conor was here. He's here. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I never seen this guy fight. And I watch a lot of MMA, you know what I mean? Maybe, you know what I mean? I'm slipping. Maybe he's a good fighter, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I honestly never seen this guy fight, for sure. You know, and I've seen Conor McGregor fight a lot of times. Just saying.
Okay.
Him and Conor, like, it's night and day.
From a weight standpoint, the idea is not as unrealistic as it may appear. Crawford has considered moving up to middleweight, while Topuria fights at lightweight, so the gap is smaller than the one between McGregor and Mayweather, making the matchup physically plausible. The shared walkout song only intensified the situation, turning a minor remark into a storyline that fans continue to discuss. Topuria has embraced the narrative fully. Rather than letting Crawford's dismissal silence him, he used them to push harder, accusing Crawford of disrespect for first calling him drunk and then using his song. He framed the situation as a chance to teach the boxer a lesson in the ring, building a storyline that fits perfectly into modern combat sports promotion.
Obviously, it was a great show today. I was curious about your entrance, how you came to choose that song in particular to walk out to.
Well, you know, it was part of my outfit. The outfit was inspired by the movie Desperado. As you see, I had the guitar and everything, and my great childhood friend, Rosendo Robles, he was the one that, you know, carried the song out and performed the night. I got Mexicans and Latinos on my side as well, so.
Did you know Ilia Topuria walks out to that song in the UFC?
You said what?
Ilia Topuria walks out to that song in the UFC.
Did he? Oh, good. Good for him.
However, Daniel Cormier relayed Ilia Topuria's bold claim that he would stop Terence Crawford in a boxing ring, quoting Topuria saying he would put Crawford to sleep with the first clean shot, and Cormier added that he believes Topuria would indeed knock him out.
Ilia Topuria said that he would knock out Terence Crawford in boxing. He goes, "I won't talk about what would happen between me and Bud in an octagon. I'll talk about what would happen in a boxing ring. I put him to sleep in the first contact." Chael, BS or no?
I think Ilia knocks him out.
Moreover, Chael Sonnen said Ilia Topuria could possibly knock out Terence Crawford on first contact, but he questioned why MMA fighters always have to step into boxing when it rarely sells. He pointed out that James Toney's UFC attempt failed, and argued that if Topuria could really beat Crawford, he should have gone into boxing. Sonnen reminded people that McGregor, who was not even good enough for an Olympic team, lasted rounds with Mayweather, and Ngannou, who never medaled as an amateur, nearly beat Tyson Fury on the scorecards. He stood by Topuria as a champion, but asked why fighters never go the other way if the claims are true, noting that Francis even left an active deal to chase a boxing dream he believed in.
Ilia Topuria could knock out Bud Crawford on first contact. Is there any truth to it? Why is it always the MMA guys gotta go box? It doesn't sell. James Toney and the UFC lost a whole bunch of money with him. If Ilia Topuria really could beat up Terence Crawford, why didn't he go into boxing? Ilia is our champion. After seeing Conor, who could not make an amateur Olympic team, go 30 minutes with Floyd, after seeing Francis Ngannou, who could not get a medal at the amateur, beat Tyson Fury according to one of the judges, I'll stand with Ilia. And how come it doesn't go the other way? And how come, if it's true, you didn't do it? Say whatever you want about Francis. Francis walked away from an active contract to pursue a dream that he believed to be true.
However, Crawford achieved a historic milestone by beating Canelo Alvarez in Las Vegas, becoming the first male boxer to hold undisputed titles in 3 separate weight divisions. Almost everyone supported Canelo Alvarez. Roy Jones Jr. remarked that Canelo Alvarez was still at his peak, which meant that losing to a man who began his career at 135 pounds would have been damaging to his reputation. He noted that this type of pressure could have made Canelo more rigid in the ring, though it also could have sharpened his determination. Jones clarified that this was not fear, since Canelo had rarely looked vulnerable against anyone.
That came from 135, it's gonna be pretty rough for him. So that's why I think the pressure thing is gonna make him tighten up a little bit more than he probably normally would. That's why I think the hunger may come from for him, because he knows that if he loses to Bud, his legacy is definitely gonna be affected.
But you know, the hunger, a lot of times, even if you're struggling to be hungry, it comes from that danger, knowing that what's around the corner.
Michael Bisping agrees with Terence Crawford that Ilia Topuria isn't on Conor McGregor's level. He acknowledges Topuria as a major UFC star with huge potential, but emphasizes that the fame and global impact McGregor achieved were unprecedented. Bisping adds that during his prime, McGregor was truly one of a kind and believes it's unlikely anyone will ever reach that level again.
Terence Crawford, of course, he's doing the rounds, he's doing interviews, and he was asked about Ilia Topuria, and he was asked about the potential of fighting him, and he was like, why? For what? You know? And he was told, for money, by Ariel Helwani. He said, yeah, what about the money? He's like, well, there isn't any money. Yes, there's Conor McGregor who did that with Floyd Mayweather, but Ilia Topuria is nowhere near the level of a Conor McGregor. And to be honest, he's probably right. You know, listen, Ilia Topuria is phenomenal. He is a major star. He is potentially the biggest star in the UFC right now. But the level of fame that Conor McGregor had, and still has, or you could call it infamy, whatever you want, that level that he reached was insane. The world had seen nothing like it, okay? And back then in his prime, Conor McGregor, he was a one-off. I don't think there'll ever be another Conor McGregor.
Terence Crawford further reveals that he didn't even know who Ilia Topuria was when he walked out to his usual entrance music. He tells reporters he has never seen Topuria fight and isn't worried about him at all. Crawford calls it surprising how the situation unfolded, emphasizing again that he had no prior knowledge of Topuria before the discussions of a possible fight.
Honestly, you walking out to his song, did you not know that that was the song he always walks out to?
To be honest, I never even seen this dude fight. I ain't even gonna lie. You know, I'm not worried about that guy at all. You know, it's crazy how, you know, things work, you know.
However, Ilia Topuria fired back, saying Crawford's claim of not knowing him was false. They had met, and Crawford even wished him luck. Topuria warned that Crawford's chin would be exposed soon, and declared he would represent real MMA fighters, pitching himself as the true pound-for-pound best against the boxer. Ilia Topuria said, "You say you're an MMA fan, but you don't even know who I am. Interesting. The first time we met, you told me, good luck this week with your fight. Your memory fails you, and soon your chin will too. I'll represent the entire MMA community. Pound for pound #1 in real fights versus the pound for pound boxer. Terence Crawford further shared that he thinks Ilia Topuria is only chasing clout. He says Topuria might step into the ring for the right money, as fighters do, but insists he isn't worth discussing. Crawford dismisses him as irrelevant and views the callouts as purely for attention.
Do you think he actually wants to fight you, or do you think, as the kids would say, he's just trying to clout chase?
I definitely think he's trying to clout chase. I think he'll definitely get in the ring with me for the right check. You know, that's what we all do it for. But at the same time, you know, I think, you know, he's I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know what he thinking this way. You know, ain't even nothing to talk about.
Terence Crawford shuts down the rumors of a boxing match with Ilia Topuria. Crawford makes it clear that he has no interest in fighting Ilia Topuria. He says Topuria isn't on Conor McGregor's level and shouldn't be compared to him. Crawford admits he doesn't know Topuria personally, hasn't seen him fight despite watching plenty of MMA, and questions the financial incentive for such a bout. He emphasizes that McGregor was a global superstar, while Topuria hasn't reached anything close, describing the gap as night and day.
Now that this has become a thing and you see the interest, you have interest in fighting him.
For what? What
money?
Listen, what money would I get out of fighting him? Tell me how much I'm gonna get out of fighting him.
Well, I know Floyd made a lot, obviously, to fight Conor.
He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor. Let's be real. Stop it. Don't ever compare him to Conor. Conor was here. He's here. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I never seen this guy fight. And I watch a lot of MMA, you know what I mean? Maybe, you know what I mean? I'm slipping. Maybe he's a good fighter, you know what I mean? I don't know, but I honestly never seen this guy fight, for sure. You know, and I've seen Conor McGregor fight a lot of times. Just saying.
Okay.
Him and Conor, like, it's night and day. It's night.
On the other hand, Daniel Cormier believes Ilia Topuria is coming out ahead in his back and forth with Terence Crawford. He explains that Crawford may dismiss the hype, but the fact that he's talking about Ilia keeps Topuria in the spotlight. Cormier notes that every time Crawford mentions Ilia's name, it gives Ilia more attention and brings him closer to achieving his goal.
The world ain't slowing down after what he did on Saturday. Terence, Bud, Crawford. Obviously, you will have a number of suitors that want a piece of the Bud business. You want to fight Terence Crawford. Initially, I thought Bud Crawford would just no-sell Ilia Topuria, but Bud Crawford isn't one to ignore stuff.
I don't know this guy. I never seen this guy fight. And I watch a lot of MMA.
Hey, guys, Bud is saying that ain't worth his time. But Ilia Topuria, in this right now, guys, is winning. He's winning because he has him talking about him. And every time, Terence Crawford speaks Ilia's name, Ilia wins. That's another step closer to getting to what he wants.
Daniel Cormier adds that while he doesn't expect the fight to actually happen, Ilia Topuria keeps gaining from the attention. He points out that every time Crawford or Topuria mentions each other, it works in Ilia's favor, keeping him in the conversation and building momentum, even if the matchup never materializes.
Should he fight Terence Crawford? No. But I've doubted Ilia Topuria before, and he has exceeded everything I could have ever imagined inside the octagon. I don't know. I don't know that this fight happens, but I'm telling you guys, every time we talk about it, every time they talk each other's name, the better.
Michael Bisping also discusses the ongoing feud between Ilia Topuria and Terence Crawford, highlighting Ilia's impressive power and undefeated record. He notes that Crawford is also undefeated, making the pairing a high-profile clash that could generate massive interest and revenue, similar to Mayweather versus McGregor. Bisping adds that Topuria, speaking as an undefeated fighter with a history of knockouts, claims he could finish Crawford quickly if it came to that.
We know Topuria is fantastic. He's got great power in the hands. I mean, the knockout that he had over several people, Alexander Volkanovski, of course, last time over Charles do Bronx Oliveira. He's undefeated. Terence Crawford is undefeated. You know, you could say it's a match made in heaven, okay? And a recipe to make an absolute fortune. Two undefeated fighters from different sports. Of course, we've seen this before with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor, and that made an absolute fortune. It was the money fight, okay? But Topuria went on and said, I won't talk about what would happen between me and Crawford in an octagon. I'll talk about what would happen in a ring. And I would put him to sleep in the first contact. Of course, speaking like a fighter that is undefeated. Speaking like a fighter that is knocking out most people that he comes into contact with, okay?
Shakur Stevenson also comments that he could see Terence Crawford beating Ilia Topuria in an MMA setting. He mentions that he has seen Crawford wrestle seriously and believes that if an MMA fight happened, Crawford could knock Topuria out or submit him. Stevenson adds that Crawford's size, reach, and wrestling skills make him a formidable opponent, and he wouldn't be surprised if Crawford dominated inside the cage despite being known primarily for boxing.
I kind of seen a picture of Bud dapping him up before Bud was going to his workout or leaving his workout. I think them guys got to leave Bud alone. I think Bud Crawford is just different. In a boxing ring with him, bro, you're not going to last more than one round, I don't think. You better off saying UFC. Like, Bud is a guy that I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in the UFC and beat the shit out of some guys too, because he got a great wrestling background. I done seen him wrestle real wrestlers on some everyday shit, because Bud looked bigger than that guy. He got longer arms. I wouldn't be surprised come fight night if they do an MMA fight, if Bud done knocked him out sleep or choked him to death. I just wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about Ilia versus Crawford? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and also check out our other videos on the screen right now.